Cardano is getting more and more popular. We already done a trial in some universities, which indicates the students would like to learn a bit more about the blockchain industry. So that's why, maybe let's do something like a Cardano community to educate people. We organized our first networking event in Hong Kong. There's a huge demand for people to ask us like, hey, let's organize something. I want to know more. From these activities, you can see there's a huge potential in the Asia side as well. More people talking about cryptocurrency. They want to know more about blockchain. The different institutions, they are trying to ask me what value we could bring in for them. I think there is a massive opportunity here. We are trying to onboard user side and also the builder side as well. And we also want to bring in more liquidity, bring more new people, bring more new talents, bring more resources to the Cardano ecosystem.
All right. Well, hello, everybody in Web3, and hello specifically to the Cardano community. Well, yeah, so we are here in Hong Kong. I am very lucky to be with some of the standout community members of the Cardano Hong Kong community. So, Kinson, welcome. Thank you very much for being the first one to kind of spend some time here with us. Could you introduce a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Kinson, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm the core member of Hong Kong Cardano community, and also I'm a core member at SIDAN Lab right now. Maybe a very quick intro is like for the Hong Kong Cardano community, we are trying to build a community that will onboard user side and also the builder side as well. Because we saw there are a lot of competition around and a lot of different alpha layer ones are trying to onboard new users and also builders as well. So therefore, I think there is a massive opportunity here. And also we are trying to bridge the gap between the Web2 and Web3 world. So that's why I think the adoption is really important. And we also want to bring in more liquidity to the Cardano ecosystem as well. So therefore, that's exactly the reason why we set up this community and try to bring more new people, bring more new talents, bring more resources to the Cardano ecosystem.
That's huge. It's a very large amount of tasks you've got to look after. So kudos to you and all the work you've been doing so far. And so like kind of getting a little bit like personal there. And so like, how has your experience been here when it comes to that adoption? Have you been seeing there be like a bit of like growth and kind of more mass adoption here in Hong Kong?
Yes, I see actually quite a lot of growth here in the past 2-3 years. So first of all, more people talking about cryptocurrency, and then they will try to know like, what is cryptocurrency? And then they will study about blockchain. They want to know more about blockchain. A lot of friends are trying to ask me as well, what is it? So that's why, maybe let's do something like a Cardano community to educate people. I'm working at Adaverse as well as a consultant, and I have came across with different institutions. They are trying to ask me the same question as well. So like, what is Cardano, how it works? What value we could bring in for them. There's a huge demand for us, like for people to ask us like, hey, let's organize something. I want to know more, like this kind of stuff. So that's why I see there's a huge growth here. Yeah.
That's awesome. So like taking it a step back and kind of like keeping it also within like the scope of like your own journey, how did you come to crypto in the first place? Like what's your origin story?
That's a really interesting one as well, yeah. So basically, I remember in 2012, so when I heard about the white paper in Bitcoin, then I started to notice it, I tried to read it, and so, it seems legit. And then, however, I was like too young at that time, and I was studying. I didn't pay a lot of attention to that. But when times goes, and then I was working like back to the 2018-19, then I start to, let's study about it, like let's be serious. And then I'm trying to know what is it, what exactly happened, why the Bitcoin price goes up a lot, and what's the architecture or the theories behind. I study about a year, and then I saw Cardano. And then I tried to get into the ecosystem, try to know some projects. Yeah, and here we go, like I now organize like a community as well to promote and help to educate the people about the Cardano. So yeah.
That's very cool. So it started just like in small ways, right? So you're beginning with like your own self-taught kind of experience with it, right? Exploring it, and you just slowly scale up, right?
Exactly. I think it is important for people to know, like, if you want to study about something, you need to start small.
Yeah.
If you think too big, you don't know where to start. So you need to choose something to start, and then If you think this way is more interesting, then you will start to go for it. So this is how to select things from a massive pool, size it down to microwave, and then try to expand it. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So I've got a bit of like a silly question, but it's actually a question I like to ask quite a lot of people like in our space. And like, does your family, and in particular, does your mom know what you do? Have you been able to explain to her?
It's a really good question as well. Like my parents always ask me, what am I doing as well? My parents, my families, even my close friends, they have no idea at the beginning. I will try to explain, oh, what is decentralization? What is governance? What is blockchain? Like this kind of stuff. And then to be honest, like this arises the necessary of education. So I use this opportunity as an education experiment. And like every week I will try, let's try approach A. Let's try to use some metaphor and see if my parents, they got what's the definition of those like blockchain, security, the blockchain trilemma, all this kind of stuff. So I think for the education side, that is why we set up this community. We need to create some interest for people to learn. If you go deadly into some jargon words, people won't understand and they won't join as well. So I think this is very important because you need to make things to be as simple as possible for people to understand. So I think education is very important. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And I think it's something that we struggle with on a very regular basis, where we end up in a bit of a word salad, even in our own case with Cardano, throwing around things like Voltaire, SIP 1694. It's way over people's heads. Even for people who have been in Cardano for years and years, we need to like take a bit of a pause.
Like, hold on.
Let's kind of like slow this down a little bit, take it back to the basics, and use more kind of understandable comparisons. Right?
Yeah. And also, I think because there are lots of different layer ones right now, and a lot of marketing from different layer ones. So literally, I remember when I joined the space, everyone will talk about, we are the most decentralized blockchain. We are the fastest blockchain. However, like how to define it, I think it's very confusing for the new joiners to know as well.
Yes.
So I think it is our responsibility as an early joiner to explain to people what it's about. And then we will try to onboard it. So just jump to the topic a little bit aside. I think to join this space, you need to ask yourself, what do you sign up for? Like, why do you sign up for this space? Some people may think, I just want to be financially free. So I understand that it is a really huge incentive to do so. But for me, I would say application is what I value the most. Because if you try to build something, however, no one is going to use it, it means nothing. Because previously I worked in some technology company, software building company, and I saw many cases that people build products that have no one to use. So you waste the resources, and even if the product is really good, no one knows. And I saw in Cardano, there are lots of builders and they build beautiful stuff, very useful use case as well. So I think bringing impactful blockchain use cases is something that our community is looking for as well. So for the people in this industry, you really need to remember what you sign up for and why you sign up for this space.
Because you mentioned the blockchain trilemma.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of go back to that and see if you could kind of maybe expand a little bit upon that. Like, what does that mean to you and how is it like defined?
Yeah. So basically, there's always a trilemma between decentralization, security, and
scalability.
Yeah, scalability. Yes, right. The words. Yeah. So for me, like I think security is really important because nowadays it's 2024 and the bull market is here. A lot of interest, a lot of new money coming, a lot of old money is activated. You see a lot of wallets activated, and people keep trying to participate in some new projects as well. Some of them may not know about the space because some of them are new joiners. So they may participate in some scams as well, scam projects. And I think on the headline, on the news, you can see a lot of different hacks happening right now. Wallets got drained every day. I think Cardano, we don't have such cases. which is something that I think more people should know about it
Yeah.
because of the nature of Cardano, like the native assets. So that's why security is really important, I think, like because I don't think anyone would like to see any loss of funds happening in this space. And also previously the FTX issue.
Yep. Yep.
And also in Hong Kong, there's a centralized exchange called JPEX. It's very similar to FTX cases as well. And these incidents will affect the industry a lot, especially on the education side, because people will become skeptical about it. People will have doubts about it, like, oh, Bitcoin, it's a fraud.
Yep.
It's a scam. Like, it's really easy for people to have this impression, and it will create a lot of barriers for the industry as a whole as well. So that's why I think it is important for us to educate the new users, the old users, the people around the world about the blockchain industry. Yeah.
Going on what you were mentioning there, and even thinking about like the blockchain trilemma and security, because for us here in Cardano, we pat ourselves quite a bit on the back, like, oh yeah, nailing security side of things. And then the next focus seems to be on decentralization. And I think a lot of us are quite proud about what has been done thus far. But a big part of that decentralization is governance. And then I think, and this is maybe me and my own kind of read of it all, scalability will come a little bit later. Because it seems like there are those who want to put scalability first, and then you end up sacrificing the other two. And that's how you end up with issues like, say, like FTX or other like scams. And so trying to get the trilemma solved in an equal balance, super hard, right? And kind of like coming now back to, I guess, like the decentralization of it all. Like, what does decentralization mean to you?
That's interesting as well. Yeah. I think there are several aspects I would like to share. So the first one is decentralization means like, so the uptime of the network should be constant. So I don't expect the blockchain to have a downtime. And I don't expect like a single entity could just push a button to shut down the whole network or to pump up the whole network. So I think this is really important, first of all, which means no single point of failure. And then the second point is just like what you said, governance is really important. We want different people from different aspects, like individuals, organizations, DAOs, institutions, like all people to join and to govern the network together. For example, Sheldon, you have different background, work experience. I have different work experience background as well. And maybe some builders, they are more specialized in writing codes. And therefore, we should gather the idea together and try to put the proposal to get approved by the community. I think this is the importance of blockchain. This is the importance of a healthy ecosystem, because we are looking for something which is not controlled by a single entity. So this is really important for governance to be made, to be agreed.
Going back to like the community side of things for you here in Hong Kong. So like, actually, like, how active is the community here? Like, how often do you do events and how often do you kind of get organized?
So it's a very new setup. Before we go for the project catalyst, we already done a trial in some universities. So every time when we do the uni tour, there is 30 to 40 attendance, which indicates the students would like to learn a bit more about the blockchain industry. Like they want to know, oh, what is Cardano? What is it? Like how to get involved? How to get a summer job internship as well, inside the ecosystem. And also back 1 month ago, we organized our first networking event in Hong Kong. And I think a lot of community people saw it and then they DM us like, hey, I saw you did this event. That's great work. Yeah. And at that event, we invited a lot of experts in Web2 and Web3 industry as well. So we asked them to share about their opinions, their thoughts about the blockchain industry, how to make it move, how to create some use cases as well, what we could collaborate together. So it's a really fun event, trying to educate people and let them know about some ecosystem funds as well. Yeah. From these activities, you can see there's a huge potential in the Asia side as well, because I think people would now like to learn more about Cardano, because you can see a lot of dApps launching. For example, you see that on the DEX side, you see Indigo, MinSwap, Genius Yield, all these kind of steps launch, EXO as well. Like the DeFi industry is really good. So with more and more applications and dApps are launching, people will want to know more about the updates,
Yeah.
how they could get involved. So yeah, it's really good to see Cardano is getting more and more popular in Asia side as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. It's well, as you were saying, it's kind of those things where you start to build out the superstructure of it, and in tech you kind of like build solutions to problems that don't really exist. But I think we've now been doing this for a few years, where we've been building real solutions. But now it's really about maybe taking it to the next level, right? Marketing, doing some promotions, more community events, getting the word out, getting people excited.
Yeah, and I think it's important to have new elements as well. For example, the recent campaign, Cardano Girls campaign on the Twitter, the reach rate is like 120K, something like this, and it's awesome from a marketing perspective.
Yeah, well, I think they were saying like they had something like 2 million views or something like that.
Oh, really?
Actually, like
wow.
across like
Yeah.
globe.
So well done, Cardano Girls. Big shout out.
Huge shout out. Huge shout out.
Huge. And I think, so the marketing side, we did really well recently. And I think business development is what we should continue to do. Onboarding institutions to the ecosystem, bringing in applications, for example, like Patrick from AdMaker and Marvin from Maestro.
Yeah.
They did a really great work. So big shout out to them as well. So I think Cardano community as a whole should continue to do something like this, trying to bring in new players into the ecosystem, and then we could share the resources. We could help to build a better use case, bring it to the ecosystem, bring it to the world as well.
Yeah. Like, so going back to like Cardano Girls and like the marketing, like, man, it's been great. Like,
it's really great.
I think we're finally starting to like get our footing, and we're building on like a great foundation. We've got like now like the tech, we got the security, everything's coming together, and now like the marketing is stepping up. And then like, as you were saying, the business development, you want to think about some of the other like content creators, like, man, huge shout out to like Dan, like Crypto Recruiter.
Yeah.
Great stuff. DApp Central. Like there's a lot of like really great like content creators. Like, do you have, and not to put you on the spot, do you have a favorite? Is there like someone you got to watch?
Actually, like I watch all of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a kind of big fan of them. So back in the old days, I remember when we pushed out these proposals, varied from DApp Central and also Pete as well. They help us to do an interview because they really want to know what's happening in the ecosystem. So that's why we approach them, and then they say, hey, let's do an interview. And then they help us to do a 40 minutes or 1 hour interview so for us to let the public, to let the Cardano ecosystem to know what we are trying to build. The content creators, they really did a lot of effort. It's really important to have them on board as well, because again, what I mentioned about education is like you want to bring things in simple terms. You want to deliver some words in a simple way so that people can listen, learn, and know it quickly. Nowadays, because I think the new generation, their attention time is quite short. So therefore, and that's the reason why Cardano Girls, the videos are really hot on trend. The education side, you need to keep it simple as possible, but also bringing out the meaning as well. We really need to know how to do it.
And we'll figure it out. Like you and I will figure it out. Like even this, we'll cut this up. Yeah. We'll make this sliceable for everybody on TikTok and Douyin and everything else. But yeah, it's going to be an ongoing process because we're always going to be learning. It's never done, right?
Exactly. I think like people would still need to learn. Like for example, like a lot of developers, they need to learn new technology every day. Yeah. There's a massive collaboration ongoing. Also, it related to the governance side as well. For the governance, we need to let people know what is, for example, previously, what is SIP 1694? Yeah. What is DRAP? So yeah, these kind of things are very important for the ecosystem to grow together. So yeah. And we will get into DRAPs. We are going to get into SIP 1694. These are all going to be things that we're going to cover here on this channel and talk about in future episodes, because each one of those things has got to be unpacked. They're huge in their own ways. I don't know if you noticed the shirt I'm wearing today. Oh, yeah. I saw that. It's really awesome. Uniting the Cardano ecosystem. Oh, yeah. It's really awesome. A little bit of self-promotion here. So you know what this is. Intersect. Could you maybe explain to everybody watching here at home
What is Intersect?
Just like what Sheldon's t-shirt has mentioned, unite the Cardano ecosystem together. So different representatives, individuals, organizations, DAOs, you can join the Intersect and become the member. And then Intersect is trying to push for the consensus on the governance upcoming. For example, if you have a proposal, if you have something that you want to do, so you will make a proposal, and then people can try to vote on it and see whether it's going to pass or not, and going to apply in the Cardano ecosystem as well. So I think Intersect could really help to bring in different projects together, get people to connect with each other. It's like a family, I would say.
Yeah, it very much is a family for all of the highs and lows of what it means to be a family. You don't always agree, but we find a way forward. We got to stick together.
Yeah.
So like as we've been talking about like governance and decentralization, like is there anything that I could perhaps help you with? Because for those of you who don't know, I had previously been working at IOG and then Intersect, helping to set up everything kind of like governance-wise with Intersect. And so, because I feel like I'm just putting you on the spot and shooting questions at you, but now it's your turn.
In Intersect, what are you going to focus? What you're trying to bring in? Like, what are your core mission? I think the Cardano ecosystem would like to know a bit more. So maybe you could address a little bit about it.
We talk about like uniting the Cardano ecosystem, but people are not too sure, like, what does that actually mean? So at its core, Intersect is a members-based organization. So it's almost like a chamber of commerce or like a business association, but unique, that it's specifically focused on blockchain and Cardano. There's going to be a lot of different initiatives that are going to be housed in Intersect. So one of like the big things that has been going on over the last couple of months is like the moving of a lot of the repos over to Intersect. It's going to be the new home for a lot of major community development, which is incredibly exciting. So that's one big focus. And another big focus is like, I think we were mentioning before, talking about like some of the different like grants or like new initiatives. If the community's got a great idea for perhaps a community hub, if they need some help on a particular new initiative, you want some marketing support, you want some exposure for what you're building, that can also all be done through Intersect. And I'll get into this also, I think, maybe in a later episode, because once again, there's just so much to unpack. It goes very deep. But one of the big things in the next couple of months is going to be building out the hard fork and kind of closing out the age of Voltaire. I shouldn't say closing out, but really unlocking Voltaire, I guess you could say. Mm. Do you know what Voltaire is?
Yeah, unlocking Voltaire, like allowing the funds in the treasury to be spent across certain governance. Yeah, of course.
So SIP 1694 is going to unlock the Cardano treasury, which I think today is something like $1 billion in ADA. And so being able to access that is going to be enormous for the entire ecosystem.
That's great to hear as well. Like, because you mentioned about Intersect, we could sign up for members, right? Mm-hmm. What would Intersect offer to the members?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So if you're an individual and you want to maybe just learn more about Cardano, or you want to be involved, you want to go to events, that is something that can be offered just like on an individual level. And then like moving up, basically at like the highest tier, there's a whole lot of Cardano developers who have historically kind of like sat back. They've been more like in the shadows, a little bit more quiet, but they're hugely important to like the maintenance of Cardano. And so having their involvement at a high level allows them to kind of step into the limelight. And so they get to talk about what they're building, some of the services they can offer to others in the ecosystem who maybe need some developed like services. And so that is like a big focus. And even for projects that are looking to launch, Intersect is a good avenue to get connected with others in the space and to promote further like marketing and adoption. And yeah, just kind of get better organized. Like I was saying, like a chamber of commerce, but for Cardano, right?
Mm-hmm. That's really great. Like, I think it's important for the ecosystem to know about this one. So remember, guys, to join Intersect, sign up for the members. I think the ultimate goal for Intersect is like trying to unite the forces together, unite the resources together. Like if you need these resources, hey, we know these people, we know that people, we know this project, that project. You can contact him, contact her, like this kind of connections.
Yes, yeah, because like we've had like historically great involvement from like the three founding entities of Cardano, but they can only do so much. Right? Like this is a very decentralized, very diverse community. And so Intersect in some ways is kind of like filling some of the gaps there for how to kind of supercharge decentralization, kind of like move it to the next level. Because if we just kind of like let it go, it could be a little bit chaotic, right? Like, so it's organized chaos within Intersect, and love to have your involvement.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. After today, I know a bit more about Intersect, so it's really good. And I'm expecting like I will see a lot of great stuff coming on in Intersect. So I would definitely stay tuned about it.
Thank you very much. Great to have you here. Wonderful for you to be able to take time out of like your busy schedule, because I think today is like a holiday here, right?
Yes, it is. When Sheldon asked me to join, like, hey, are you free? And I was like, yeah, sure, free. Let's go.
Let's go.
Because for us, like on the education side, we never stops, to be honest.
Yeah.
So even though it's a holiday, but yeah, we still work as usual.
There you go. The hustle's real here in Hong Kong. The hustle is real.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much, Kinson. Thank you. And looking forward to seeing you again very soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sheldon. Thank you to you as well. See ya.
See ya.